News Live at 10.
New tonight at 10, a man is in jail after a stabbing at a Rothsay truck stop today.
It happened just after midnight. The Otter Tail County Sheriff's Office describes it as a domestic assault, saying a 42-year-old woman was stabbed but is expected to be okay.
52-year-old John Fogelman of Rothsay was charged with second-degree assault with a dangerous weapon and domestic assault. He is currently being held at the Otter Tail County Detention Center.
Meanwhile, court documents are shedding light on a stabbing that we broke to you Friday night in Crookston. We now know the woman stabbed was the suspect's mother. Police arrested 36-year-old Kevin Corona after he was seen stabbing and kneeling over his mother, holding her down with both hands around her neck. Officers say Corona then lunged at officers, but they were able to detain him, stopping the attack. Corona's mother says her son had lived with her since getting out of prison and was angry that she was going to move to a new home. Officers say the woman had cuts on her eye, cheek, hand, and at least 5 stab wounds to her stomach.
Taking a look outside, things look kind of calm right now, but it's a busy weather week ahead. First Alert Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson has the details. Hutch?
Justin, thanks so much. Here's what you need to know. Enjoy the quiet while it lasts. Now, most of the snow missed Fargo, Grand Forks, and the Northern Valley, but from Bismarck through the South Dakota border area, travel troubles continue. We actually even have no travel advisories for a, rural road out there just off to the Tuttle area, if you know where that is. Now, got to tell you, our First Alert Weather Day is for Thursday and Friday. That is the main event. A major regional impactful winter storm is going to take place. We'll have the latest on that here in a few minutes, but we have a couple of more chances of snow that begin tomorrow. Tomorrow, late here in the Southern Valley, late in the day, a chance of snow increases lasting into Wednesday. Morning drive time issues, afternoon drive time issues on Wednesday, and then we'll add more to the mix heading into the late week. Now, by your Wednesday morning drive time, I don't think we'll have too much in the way of impacts for Tuesday evening's drive, but by Wednesday morning, we'll have some areas with a couple of inches of snow, 3 to 6 down south. So Fargo, a good chance of 2. Some areas may get even up to 4 as we go down to the south. This snow shifts eastward as we head into the afternoon drive. More on that here in just a moment. Winter weather advisories already posted for the I-94 corridor. Heavier snow in central South Dakota. Your hour-by-hour forecast and an update on those First Alert weather days coming up here in just a few moments.
Thanks, Hutch.
New tonight at 10, police in Watertown, South Dakota say a teacher in the Henry School District has been arrested, accused of being sexually involved with a 16-year-old student. Police say 41-year-old Lisbon native Shanna Rees was arrested yesterday. She's been teaching language arts to middle and high school students. Authorities say more charges are possible. If convicted, she faces up to 2 years in prison.
The city of Fargo is joining a class action lawsuit and settlement against CVS, Walgreens, Walmart pharmacies, and drug makers Teva and Allergan for their roles in the opioid crisis. Now, the national settlement was for more than $20 billion. Fargo, of course, received just a small fraction of that. City Council also passed a symbolic resolution tonight, formally joining Governor Burgum in prioritizing urgent efforts to grow the workforce and also joining the Human Rights Commission in opposing legislation referencing the recent anti-trans bills in the state that they say targets marginalized and at-risk community members, which they say would then also hurt their ability to attract workers.
This is a strong support the city of Fargo has for the people we want in our community. Talented, wonderful people who want to raise a family, want to do things. And this is an important statement the city of Fargo has to make, is that we will stand for people and stand for them coming into our community.
The measure passed 4-1. Only Dave Pepcorn opposed.
Today, the Minnesota House voted on the first step towards securing roughly $2 billion in bonding money across the state. It would be the first in 2 years to pass through the legislature. It sets aside $1.9 billion to be used on infrastructure improvements. That number down from the governor's recommended $3.3 billion. DFLers hope to pass a second bonding bill later in the session with even more money attached.
Where we have to start putting together the 2023 bonding bill, which I've referred to as the with or without you bill. We would really like to do that with Republicans. But at the end of the day, it's not acceptable to Minnesotans to go this long without another bonding bill.
While the bill passed through the House with little trouble, the Senate might be a different story. Senate Republicans made it clear today they won't play ball with the new bill unless tax cuts are on the way.
We just want them to know that bill is going to be dead on arrival, because we believe that we need to see some tax cuts tied to that.
Both parts of the bill passed through the House during the floor session today, but will need a supermajority to pass through the Senate. Homeowners in North Dakota may soon be eligible for property tax relief. The House Finance and Taxation Committee heard testimony today on a resolution to eliminate property tax. Representatives are trying to get the measure on the ballot.
It is our responsibility to help our citizens. This upholds individual liberty. It will be so helpful for citizens who make sacrifices to make ends meet, have more opportunity, as well as true home ownership.
The resolution came before the committee with a strong do pass recommendation.
Happening tomorrow, Governor Tim Walz will sign off on a bill allowing Minnesotans to get a driver's license regardless of their immigration status. Minnesota is home to about 500,000 immigrants. About 80,000 they think are undocumented, according to the Migration Policy Institute. Proponents say they're already driving to work, to school, to church. However, many live in fear that they'll be deported. We'll bring you much more on this issue tomorrow from the Capitol right here on Valley News Live.
The Department of Transportation wants to make it easier for parents to sit on airplanes with their children.
Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg launched a dashboard to help parents with that process. Valley News Live's Washington Bureau correspondent Brendan Cullerton breaks down what's in this plan.
Secretary Buttigieg says 3 airlines have already signed on to guarantee parents a seat by their children for no extra cost. The Department of Transportation website customer service dashboard now includes a segment that shows American, Alaska, and Frontier Airlines are all now voluntarily participating in not charging what the Biden administration refers to as junk fees by charging parents extra money to sit with children aged 13 and younger. As with other components of airline policies, the website also shows which of the 10 major airlines are not participating. Buttigieg sent a letter to the CEOs of all 10 companies last July, stating U.S. policy was to not charge parents fees to sit with children, but initially, none of the airlines had changed policy.
It's hard enough to be flying with kids when you don't also have to discover at the gate that you're going to be expected to pay extra just to sit next to your own kids, or you have to plead with the gate agent, or you have to wind up negotiating with other passengers on board. I talked to a lot of travelers who have had this experience, and we believe that this needs to end.
Buttigieg is also calling on Congress to pass a law ensuring parents can sit by their children at no extra cost. In Washington, I'm Brendan Cullerton.
Minnesota U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar held a conference today to raise awareness about Americans living with rare diseases and her work to improve access to targeted treatments and cures. There are more than 10,000 known rare diseases impacting roughly 30 million people.
Funding isn't the only solution. We also need patients and their families to play a larger role in the treatment research and approval process.
Right now, fewer than 5% of rare diseases have a treatment approved by the FDA.
A North Fargo animal rescue is picking up the pieces tonight after last week's 13 inches of snow proved too much for their old 50-year-old barn's roof.
The collapse is forcing them to temporarily rehome 13 goats and halt many of their trainings and community activities with their 19 horses. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley has our story.
It's quiet inside the Faulkner barn now. The family's 13 rescue goats now temporarily flocking at a farm in Glendon after their home came crashing down Friday afternoon.
We came in and our eyes were all, what just happened?
The Faulkners say the roof hasn't caused them any issues in past winters, but think last week's dumping of more than a foot of snow was the last straw.
We haven't been able to find a snow rake that goes that high, so like I said, in the past it's just slid off, but for some reason this last snowstorm is what did it.
While the damage is bad, the Faulkners say the collapse could have been much worse, saying they're just grateful none of their volunteers, goats, horses, chickens, or cats were hurt.
If for some reason we would have had them in around that time, or it would have happened during chore time, the staff could have been hurt, And then the 3 tent pens right here, we would have lost those 3 horses.
The rescue farm is still waiting to hear from insurance agents to learn if the barn is fixable or will have to be torn down and rebuilt, which the Faulkners say would cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars.
We got to have a place for these guys to hang out.
This is their home.
Until that's been determined, the Faulkners say there's not much else they can do, but stay positive.
We just keep moving forward.
Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
And while protecting your home is important, officials say you should be careful before you actually head up on your roof.
We have some advice as well as how you can donate to Pride and Joy Rescue Farm on your VNL News app.
A reminder for those of you in downtown Fargo, crews will be removing snow overnight. You have until 2 a.m. to get your cars off the street or else they will be towed. You can't park between 2nd Avenue South and 7th Avenue North from 2nd Street to University Drive while this is going on.
Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport once again ranks among the best for the 2nd year in a row and the 6th time in 7 years. MSP has been named the best airport in North America for airports servicing 25 to 40 million travelers. The award was based on 465,000 surveys at 400 airports across 90 countries, covered topics like overall experience, security, cleanliness, dining, and more. Officials say MSP is the 16th busiest airport in North America.
Still to come on Valley News Live at 10. We break